Welcome to the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside sunny and chilly Louisville, Kentucky, and in Maryland, my home state, the land of pleasant living and the home of horse racing and crabs. John Webster. How are you, Mr. Webster, today?
Gary, how you doing, man? Another great week in sports. Can't wait to get into it. Everything's going well. Getting a little cold here, sunny, but a little cold now. The weather's getting ready to change. I went
I know
out and
you
rode
hate
my
you hate
bike
that.
this morning. Yeah, I hate it, man. I went out and rode my bike this morning. And I was like, man, it's a little nippy to be riding this bike, but we we'll,
What?
we'll, we'll, we'll keep
What?
we'll keep plugging away. We'll
I'm
keep
I'm
plugging
jealous,
away.
man, that you're riding a bike because I can't wait to get back on a bike. I mean, even in this weather. So where do you ride?
Right in the neighborhood, right in the community,
Oh
ride
man.
right up. Old school, man. I ride on the sidewalk, man. I don't ride in the street.
All right, all right. Yeah. Well, I applaud that, man. That's because really that's what I want to do, to be quite honest. Just kind of ride around the neighborhood, just get some exercise.
I hear you, man. But speaking of exercise, man, I wonder if we got some teams not getting enough exercise or just they just don't seem to know what they're doing. NFC East, we're just gonna say that as the NFC East turns, it's like a
Mm,
story each week.
yeah.
I'm gonna set you up for this, Gary.
Okay.
Dallas can't win. The Giants can't win. Washington can't win. And the Eagles don't even play and they win. We'll talk about that last. But first, let's talk about we're going to start with the Giants and we'll do Dallas next. The Giants, they played the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers pretty much controlled that game. The Giants are a little short right now with Scatterbo out. So is Jackson Dart back there? He also missing Malik Neighbors. So, they're struggling offensively. Defense couldn't hold down against the 49ers. 49ers beat them, man. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
Dallas, Monday Night Cowboys. They played the Arizona Cardinals, and the Cardinals beat Dallas. Seems like this is the fourth straight time the Cardinals have beat Dallas on Monday Night Football. I think the final score was 27-17. Dallas struggling to stop the pass, struggling to stop the run. Uh, Gary, my first question to you: do you think Dallas is going to make any type of move today to get a player? Will they make a move before the trade deadline to get a player or players?
I think they have to. Um, I mean, I watched the second half last night through some miracle where I actually found ESPN because I'm a YouTube subscriber who's kind of squeezed out by this dispute that has like all my Disney, ABC, whatever, even my local channel isn't even on the air. I mean, I'm not even seeing local news. That's another story. But watching that second half. Two things that told me Dallas was in trouble. Okay, say St. Louis, Arizona scores right before the half. They get a 2-for-1 and they cash in on it. Coming right out of halftime with the ball, those two touchdowns told me it's like they're in trouble. And then they add a field goal on top of that. And I said Dallas is not overcoming that, and the reason is because they can't stop anybody. That's one of their biggest problems. And like just before we went on, I was thinking, Dallas is wasting a lot of talent on offense. Like Dak Prescott is healthy and playing like old Dak, like first, second year Dak. I'm not even going to fault him for the for that interception at the end because they were just a desperate team at that point. And hell, he was desperate. And yes, I said hell because that was what he encountered from that Cardinals pass rush. You mentioned four straight wins against Dallas by the Cardinals. The stat, I don't know if you saw this, but they're like 8-1 in the last nine meetings against them. I mean, that one was eye-popping to me. and this is a team I think like Washington plays Detroit, on a regular basis. Washington or Chicago on a regular basis, like if not every year, at least every other year. And I think that's how it goes. I never realized how dominant Arizona was over Dallas. That shouldn't happen in any time, but especially with Jacoby Brissett. And I love Jacoby Brissett, but you don't let a backup quarterback beat you. And the reason why I say I love Jacoby Brissett, it's like I think he spent time in Washington, um, as a backup. And I said, yeah, he's an able guy, and maybe I'm getting it wrong. It could have been Baltimore. Of course,
He's been everywhere.
yeah, I mean, he's been with like six teams or something, and like including four in each of the in as many seasons. But it really Dallas. What I saw last night in the second half, they look clueless. I know that they're a little banged up, but they just look clueless, and the Cardinals just took advantage of that. That's a big red flag, especially with the trade deadline coming up. Yeah, they need to get somebody. They need help in that secondary for sure. That's about all I
Yeah,
can really say on that.
they need a cornerback. I don't know if Diggs is coming back this season. Bland is struggling back there by himself. They need another defensive end. Clowney is not the Clowney he used to be. So,
He's
you
still a good
know,
pickup, though. I will say that. I think he's got to
he,
settle in.
I think he's a good pickup, Gary, but I think he needs to be used strictly, solely as a pass rusher. And I
Yes,
don't know if Dallas has the depth where they can just use him like that. I think if they were able to acquire another pass rusher, I think that would make Clowney better. But I don't know what the Cowboys will be able to do. They did make a move that was announced this morning. They got the linebacker from the Cincinnati Bengals, the one that Al Golden had benched. I forget his name, but they have him. So
yeah.
we'll see what else they do before this trading deadline hits. Now, next, what we'll talk about. It's no good way to bring it in. We'll just say it, Gary. We're going to talk about the Commanders' loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Man, I was going to say the Seattle Supersonics, man. What is wrong with me?
It's early for both of us in a sense, man.
So they lost to the Seahawks 38-14. There are a few things to break down from this game. Um, uh, Gary, I'll let you start, man. And then I'll try to fill in and filter the right things to be said.
Okay. Looking ahead, John, I really don't see the Commanders winning too many more games. I think this is one of those. We're at a point now. It's the first week of November, and we're at a point now where you're already thinking this season's gone. And I hate to say that. We're at the midway point, but this season's gone. You don't know when Jaden Daniels is coming back from his latest injury. I won't get into the why was he still out there on the field questions that you're probably hearing every day. But back there, yes, I have my questions about it, but you got his injury. You've lost Marshawn Lattimore for the year with a torn ACL, and I'm trying to think of who else was hurt.
They lost Luke McCaffrey.
That's right,
He's
Luke
gone.
McCaffrey, kick returner. And now Luvu was suspended a game for what is it, a hip tackle. That which of course is curious to me because yeah, he's been fined a couple of times, but um, I don't know. Maybe he's like the NFL's version of Draymond Green. The officials are watching, the league is watching, and you keep doing it. And that's
Is
why,
Luvu a defensive end or a linebacker?
he's supposed to be a hybrid. I think he's more of a linebacker than a defensive end,
Okay.
the way he lines up. And I mean, I like the positioning for him. I like his play. It's just I just thought that was a curious suspension by the NFL. But again, if they gotten you a couple times already, fined you and stuff without suspension, you got to watch it. And the question, about hip tackles is like, how about guys that hip tackled Jaden Daniels? How about guys that do that hip tackle of Jalen Hurts, where it looks like they're trying to hurt him. And I think John, as an old school guy, it's like, are you just taking tackling away? I wonder, how much aggression do you want to take away from football? Yes, you want to keep guys safe, but some of these things, you zero in on certain tackles. Like, yeah, I don't have a problem with them policing horse collar tackles, because I mean, because that one really is potentially dangerous, especially since we remember guys with long hair, being yanked down and such, back way back in the day. But for the Commanders, um. I just don't see too many wins coming up. And if you can run down the next four games, you tell me if any wins are coming out of that, starting with Detroit.
You got Detroit. You said that's a loss, right?
Hmm.
Miami in Brazil, Sunday morning.
That's a toss up, but I'm gonna give that a W.
Denver, a Sunday night game. Okay. Minnesota. Let me keep going. Giants at the Meadowlands. Philadelphia. Dallas. Philadelphia.
I don't know if that shows up, but yeah,
Yeah, so I'm assuming that was an L too.
yeah.
So
Well, I'll
in
put it.
all of
I'll,
that,
I'll I'll put it back up, man.
maybe in all that you got one, maybe two wins. So that makes them at best to finish the season 5-12.
Mhm. Yeah.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
it like, John, I think, I texted you during the game that, it's obvious that they've taken a step back. You agreed. It's hard for this team. It's hard to win when your best players aren't out on the field. Um, I think, Terry McLaurin was out as well.
Yep.
Um, Debo Samuel has been recovering from, he's coming back from injuries. He's not his same self, again. And now, as much as we get on Marshawn Lattimore, he's a cover guy. I mean, both of us went ballistic over, I think it was what, two penalties that he drew on Sunday, and then he gets hurt. I hope he gets healthy, and really I hope he studies game film and just learns how not to cover guys all over when the officials are looking. That's one of those frustrating things about him. But I mean, injuries can take your season off the rails so fast, and of course that's what we're seeing with Washington, especially with your primary players. Because at any time during, this first half of the season, you were either missing your quarterback or at least two of your receivers, maybe missing a guy on defense, maybe missing a running back. Because I think, yeah, they've lost a running back for the years as well. It goes to depth. And to me, John, it also goes to adjustments that they're not making on offense, because you know how much I love Chris Rodriguez from his days at Kentucky. He's a bruiser. And I can't even remember if they traded the other guy that that he was alternating with, um, who's become, like I said, just like he's been disappeared to the point I can't even remember his name now. But
Well, you talking about McNichols,
well, yeah,
or
McNichols.
or are you talking about Bill?
Well, Bill is hurt, right?
I don't know if he's hurt. He just hasn't been getting a lot of snaps.
Okay, because that was a question. It's like, yeah, he hadn't gotten a lot of snaps, and I was like, I just assumed he was hurt. I didn't hear them say anything about it during the broadcast, but
I think he started Sunday night.
hmm,
I
yeah,
think. Maybe I'm
yeah.
wrong.
And see, that's the thing. It's telling because you don't know if they're going to run the ball, and you run, and when you don't know if they're going to run the ball, that puts the ball too much in Daniels's hands. You dig a big deficit, of course, the whole defensive deficiencies, we've talked about that, and it was on glaring display, especially for a Seattle team coming out of a bye, rested, 2 weeks to prepare, and they just obliterated that defense. They took Washington out before halftime, and there was no way. And again, that's what goes to the wisdom of leaving in your star quarterback, your franchise quarterback in to get hurt in a game that was already out of reach. I don't know why. Don't know why. Um, and I'll just leave it at that because I think I might say something that might piss some people off, and I'll just say it like that. This is Unfiltered Daily Deuce by Gary Graves.
Let me chime in a little bit. Rough game for the Commanders. Did not play well on either side of the ball. They were struggling all night long. I mean, even on a kickoff return, Lane fumbled the kickoff return, gave him a touchdown before halftime.
Hmm.
First play of the game, they ran the ball for 8 yards, 2nd and 2, but then they go into a passing mode. You know, and that's hindsight's 2020 on that, Gary, because the first 15 plays are scripted. So, I'm not going to go hard on that. What I will say is, you mentioned a couple times about Jaden Daniels being in the game at the end. You know, that's really unfortunate. He was hurt. He dislocated his elbow. It's not fractured. No broken bones. So if you want to try to find something good out of that, that is good. Now the question comes in: should he have been in the game at that point? In my mind, I will say no. I don't think he should have been in the game. The game was out of reach. Um, some will say since he's been hurt so much, he need to get his reps. I will say since he's been hurt so much, you got to protect him. He's a very tough player. He's a soldier and he's a leader. Example of him being a soldier and a leader. I don't know if you noticed it, Gary. He wouldn't even take the cart to the locker room. He walked back to the locker room,
Yeah,
and
which was encouraging.
yeah,
Which
and
was
that's a
encouraging.
soldier. But he was in pain. A
Yeah,
dislocated elbow is not a joke.
I know.
It is not a joke. So, um, you got to protect him from himself because he's going to go all out when he's in the game.
Yeah,
It's out of reach at 38-7. Now, what I will say, Dan Quinn came out and said he missed it. 100% on him. I give that guy a lot of credit for that, man. Yeah, he made a mistake, but he owned up to it. And,
yeah,
I think the situation is going to work out, but I think that says, in my opinion, that says a lot about Dan Quinn, not as a coach, but as a person. To me, that says a lot about him. So, it's rough, man. And the offense, the defense. Let's go to the defense. They can't cover anybody.
mm.
That doesn't sound right. They
No,
struggle.
no,
They
no, John,
struggle.
call it, say
They
it.
they I'm going to say, but I'll say it like this: they struggle in pass coverage, they struggle at tackling, they struggle at rushing, they struggle at stopping the run. This week they're moving Joe Witt from the box to the sideline. So,
Okay.
but you know what? You know what, Gary? You can move Joe Witt anywhere you want, but those 11 guys on the field have to make the tackle, have to make the deflection on the pass, have to stop somebody. They got to play. You know, I heard one sportscaster Sunday night said people need to be fired. Now, I mean, he's talking about Dan Quinn first and foremost.
Mm.
I don't think that's the case. This man is playing right now with a team that has 20 plus players on injured reserve. Are they struggling? Yes. Should they be better? Yes. But he's playing with a rough situation. The other thing that I also believe, I think coming to this season, a lot of people had rose colored glasses on. I've said this for the last 3 or 4 weeks, Gary. A lot of people believe since last year they were 12-5, they were going to be even better this year. And the schedule was harder. You got more primetime games. If you look at the Commanders, or even back before they were the Commanders, this team has always struggled on primetime games. Go all the way back to Joe Gibbs. Joe Gibbs the first time. They struggle on primetime games. And the other thing is, this group of kids that you have right now, and you're putting them on primetime 8 or 9 times this season, that's just different from last year when you played at 1 o'clock. It's a different intensity, it's a different expectation, and it's not 50,000 people in your local TV market watching you. It's millions, and it's a national TV audience watching your game.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to make any excuse up for them. They are struggling. They are having a rough year. Austin Eckler is out. That's the running back they depended on.
That's
Bill, I
that's the
don't think
that's the one I was trying to remember.
Bill, I don't think has been the same since he had the fumbles. That's just my personal opinion. Terry McLaurin held out, signed, came into camp late, then played a couple games, then got hurt, played, got hurt again. You haven't seen the real Terry McLaurin this year. You brought Debo Samuel in this season, in my opinion, again, to be a compliment to Noah, what's the guy's name? Noah Brown and to Terry McLaurin. He was supposed to be a compliment. Debo Samuel at this point in his career is a compliment. He's a nice piece to add. He's not your number one. And now you force him to be a number one because everybody's gone. I mean, you're looking at the kick returner Lane as being taking snaps at the wide receiver. Uh, Ertz is out there. He's playing hard as he can, but they just Bates is out there. That's two tight ends. You just don't have receivers, and going back to Jaden Daniels. That's another reason why I would with 38-7 I would have put him on the bench because you just don't have what you need, and that's unfortunate. I think this offseason you got to make sure you sign Tunsil Laramie Tunsil, whatever the guy,
Yeah,
the
Laramie
little
Tunsil.
tech, Laramie
Yeah.
Tunsil. You need to make sure you sign him to a long-term deal. He has done very well covering his blind side. You don't need to lose that. But the
Yeah.
other thing you need to do, you need to probably get a little bit younger on defense. You need to go get some players who are a little bit younger and go-getters and go for it from there. You look at this team and they are, when you think about it, last year's 12-5 team, they had bounces go their way. Gary, you play sports. Bounces don't always go your way. They even out and go the other way sometimes. And this year, those bounces have gone the other way.
Yeah.
And I think this team, as much as it's struggling, I think it's a good situation for them to learn from. And I think they'll be better for it next year. I really
Yeah.
do.
I hope so because again, at the end of the season, Dan Quinn's going to be a 500 coach.
You
That
hope he's a 500 coach. I mean,
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
keep going
well,
like this, he's going to be below 500. If you
yeah,
keep going at
yeah,
the rate you just said they're going with 2 wins in the last 7.
Yeah, it's like what is it? Four and
He's like 43 and 42 right now, I think, or something
yeah.
like that.
But I mean with
Uh,
Washington, this is what his second or third year. I think it's the second year.
second year, he's 12 and
Yeah.
5 last year.
Yeah, he'll
This
probably
year,
be
he's
5-12 this year.
all right. So right now he's 3 and 6. So 3 and 12
Yeah.
is what, 15? And 6 and 5 is what, 11? So he's 15 and 11 right now. And then you're
Mhm.
basically saying he's going to win two more games, 17, and lose five. So that makes him 17 to 16. So he's holding on to be a 500 coach.
Yeah.
But again, I don't say that like he needs to be fired. I
No,
think
neither do
that
I.
he's working with a situation. He's he I don't think he's lost the team. I don't think he's lost the locker room. I think he's lost players. That's what I think he's lost.
Yeah.
And some of them are not going to be found until next season because some of them are done for the year. I gotta stress, like I've been saying, some people think I don't like the Commanders. It's not that I don't like them. I think this is our organization has come a long way, but they're in a rough situation and they don't have a lot of options. They don't. Right now, Jaden Daniels is out for 4 games, and you're going to play Mariota. And now you need to think about if Mariota gets hurt, you got to think about what kind of quarterback you're going to bring in to back up Mariota. And I say that because the Ravens made this mistake. Oh, well, I'll call it a mistake. When Lamar Jackson got hurt, they had Cooper Rush as the backup. Cooper Rush is a very good, he's a serviceable quarterback, but he is not a quarterback for the Baltimore system. Tyler Huntley came in in the Chicago game, and he has more of a style like Lamar Jackson, and they won the game against Chicago. They need to find a backup who has a style similar to Jaden Daniels and similar to Mariota. That's the kind of backup they need. Long story short, you don't need a Cooper Rush coming in there. You don't need a straight drop back quarterback. You need somebody that can do the RPO, the run pass option,
Yeah.
and then make some good decisions off of it. Again, just my personal thoughts. I'm sorry, Gary, I went off on a tangent on the Commanders. We'll wrap this segment up by saying the Eagles did not even play this week, and I said earlier in the segment they won. How do they win? Two ways. One, they didn't play and picked up a game on the Commanders, the Giants, and the Cowboys. By not playing, they still picked up a game. Second, they picked up I think a defensive lineman that's going to help them down the stretch. Now, the thing I will say to this, Gary, and I'll let you comment back. I still think I don't see teams coming up to catch Philadelphia, but I see Philadelphia falling back to the pack. Philadelphia has a very tough schedule for the rest of the season. Philadelphia has to play Green Bay, Detroit, Dallas, Chicago, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Commanders, Buffalo, and then the Commanders again. I mean, that's a rough schedule. That's like you remember 2 or 3 years ago? No, it wasn't 3 years. It was 2 years ago when they had the slide and they had to play San Francisco, Buffalo, and somebody else in back-to-back weeks, and then they
Yeah.
ended the season not on a kind of a downward spiral. If
Yeah.
you remember that a couple years back, you
Yeah.
know,
I think it's like it was like five in a row or something like that, five or
it's,
six in
it's
a row.
Yeah, and that
Yeah.
was also during the time that Big Dom got into it with somebody. Remember, he got into it with one of the
Oh,
players or something. It was that
yeah.
season.
I'd
Yeah,
forgotten
so
about that.
yeah. But we'll see. That's why we say as the NFC turns, Philadelphia picks up a game, doesn't even play a game, and they just continue to move forward. So we'll see what happens. But Gary, what do you think?
Um, John, I agree that I think they'll fall a little bit closer to the pack. It's just the thing I'm always encouraged with Philadelphia, having watched them this year, is that rarely have they played their best football. For some reason, they're still trying to find their way offensively. They're trying to find an identity. But for the most part they're keeping guys healthy. They're getting plays from Jalen Hurts that they need at the right times. Um, I guess was it AJ Brown? I think he's hurt now, but when they're getting the ball to him, which keeps him happy. They're getting the ball to Devontae Smith, which keeps him happy. The one guy who I think really is going through some stuff is Saquon Barkley, not necessarily of his own doing. They're just keying on him a
True.
whole lot more. And I think they have to figure out a way to shake him free from some of the coverage and just like say the two spies that they often have on defense waiting for him when he carries the ball. And again, I think that's an adjustment that they have to make. I know folks up the road in Philly are upset about, yeah, they need to be dominant. Right now, they just need to win. As the season goes on and they start to settle into a groove, which you hope they will, rather, that I think Philadelphia will be a better team. They're not going to win. I mean, they're gonna suffer some losses with that gauntlet of a schedule that you mentioned. But right now, I don't think they really have to worry too much about the division because, again, I think they're up at least two games on Dallas, Washington, and the Giants. And I really don't see them losing to any of those teams right now, even on their worst day, just because they still have their key components in place while Washington doesn't, while New York doesn't, and Dallas is struggling to put the right pieces in place. And they're probably going to have to do that via trade, especially on defense.
Well, we'll see if Philadelphia can go back to back. That's going to be very interesting. But guess who did go back to back? The LA Dodgers, World Series champs. And Gary, as people say sometimes, you can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make it up.
Yeah.
Uh, Game 7 was unbelievable. Game 6 is unbelievable. Game 5, the whole series was unbelievable. It was a great series. It's unfortunate somebody had to lose. I think the Dodgers won more than Toronto lost.
Yeah.
It was just unbelievable. I absolutely loved it. Gary, what do you think, man?
Uh, John, all of that and then some. Yeah, I smiled because, I'm not a Dodger fan, but I smiled because as a retired sports writer, this is what we love about sports, the unpredictability. Now, if I'd been covering that game on deadline, I'd have been pulling out what's left of my hair because I'd have to change my lead like two or three times or something. And even with the lead that I wrote about LA taking the lead on the home run, on Will Smith's home run, that it's like, okay, they still got to bat. Toronto still has to bat in the bottom of the inning. Anything can happen in baseball, and you got to rewrite it. Well, that didn't happen thanks to the defensive changes that one that got the double play in the previous inning. I mean, it was just beautiful. Um,
Let me ask you real quick, Gary. Was it me, or did it seem like every time Dave Roberts made a move, it worked?
oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, putting in Pages to play center field, two plays, I guess I want to say two batters before he made that ridiculous catch,
Mhm.
bowling over his fellow outfielder. They're both going for it. And John, you can't tell me that you didn't think that ball's falling through some way because you see both of them kind of running toward runs to the ball at the same time, reminding me of that Bugs Bunny cartoon where you're playing the gas house gorillas or the goons or whatever, and they're running into each other. Which way did he go anyway? But yeah, you can't tell me that you didn't think that ball was going to fall through, and then he just reaches up and catches it almost backhand. Um, and to really save the game. That brought me off the couch because that was just a huge play. Then let's see, what was it? the double play oh yeah, the Mookie Betts double play that effectively clinched it, that the ball bounced their way. He moved over to short from second. One of those moves that it took Mookie a little bit of time to adjust, but in that moment you saw why it paid off. Where I mean, he just makes like a 6-6-3 double play to clinch the series. To me, that really was incredible. And of course, Rojas, who he believed in to keep him in the lineup. Guy
Yep.
makes, one hell of a defensive play to save a run, to get an out. And you talk about a game of inches. Just think about the catcher. Think about Will Smith basically taking his foot off the plate
Hmm.
because of because of an offline throw and then getting it back down a split
Hmm.
second before the runner gets there. I mean, it's just one of those things where just why I love again why I love baseball and why I love sports. Why we love sports because you just never know. Had a whole lot of high tension. The Dodgers look dead trying to come back. They get let's see, I'm trying to think what was it? Rojas, yeah, homered, and then Will Smith homered.
Right.
And
And
that made it, solo homers. They didn't pound the ball in this series at all, but they got situational hits when they needed them. They got Mookie Betts out of a series long slump who knocks in 2 runs. It's I don't want to say that they were a blessed team, but I love Dave Roberts for his managerial moves. That's what a manager is supposed to do. Read the room or read the field in this case, read your locker room, know which guys are, need a boost. You put them in there and have faith in them. Even in the pitching. I knew that Shohei wasn't going to have it all for Game 7, but he limited the damage.
hmm yeah. Um, I'll add a couple more things. They're all great points. I'll go back to the game on Friday night, the unorthodox double play. Hernandez catches the fly ball, throws it to Rojas at second, and that was not a very good throw, but Rojas was able to bend down and get it and keep his foot on the bag and end the game with a
Mhm.
double play.
Yeah,
Unbelievable. I look at Yamamoto. He threw 96 pitches on Friday night and then came back again Saturday and closed it down with 3 innings. It was at 9, 10, and 11.
yeah,
So unbelievable, man. Shohei, he think about the 18 inning game, Gary. 18 innings was basically as a doubleheader. He hit 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and walked 5 times. In 18 innings, he was on base 9 times. You know, he he's a tremendous ball player, man. Um,
I mean, he's the best ball player in baseball, and say it right now.
yeah,
Um,
he would
I,
look
I
so
don't
much
know if
better.
you would agree with that, but I really think he's best player on the planet right now.
I think he would look so much better in a black and orange uniform. What about you, Gary?
He would look so much better in a black and orange uniform if the black and orange team had more green.
Well, let's move on to another subject, Gary. But move on. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah,
But Clayton Kershaw in that 18 inning game, he came in bases loaded and got the big out with 2 out. It was Dave Roberts, whatever he put his hand on in this series, it worked out. It was an unbelievable series. It could have gone either way. Toronto had some chances to wrap it up, both in Game 6 and Game 7, but it just didn't work out. Game 7, with 1 out, you got who was that? Guerrero on third base with 1 out. So
yeah.
and
I knew I
and,
really thought the game was over at that point.
and then
Just because of how
Yamamoto.
because of how they hit the ball.
Yeah, and then Yamamoto got who was that? Kirk, Alejandro Kirk, got me hit into a double play,
Yeah.
and it really worked out well because Kirk's not a very fast runner. So it worked out perfectly. And then also the ball he hit ended up being a soft bouncer too short because he broke his bat.
Yeah.
So it was still a difficult play to make. Mookie Betts did a great job making it, but some of the things helped with the play of that man. Again, congratulations to the Dodgers. They're going to come back and try to do it again next year. There's a team in Baltimore. I hope I'll have something to say about that and try to stop that. But that's all we'll say about that for now because we're not going to take the time up to talk about the Orioles during the Dodgers. It's the Dodgers' time, and congratulations to them, man. Before we wrap up to Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, the first rankings come out for the college football playoffs. Am I correct on that?
Oh, that's right. Yep. Yep. That's the first ones. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that'll be very interesting. We'll see how that goes. Um, Gary, what I would like to do on one of these future shows, I need you to explain to me two things. I need you to explain to me these coaches who lose their jobs in midseason. I need you to explain that. I'm gonna give you some time to think about that.
Yeah.
And the other thing I
Because
need
there
you to
could be
explain,
because there could be another one or two, but before we talk again.
yeah, and the other thing I need you to explain to me, we could do a show about this as well. I need you to explain to me about gambling and the NBA. So, with that being said, take us home, Gary.
All right. Well, two subjects, food for thought. Um, I'll just say we have a lot to look forward to with the start of college basketball season this week, men's and women's. It's a full month. So now let's see. I think we have all four major sports plus college football, plus college basketball. So you have plenty of choices. If you're a YouTube subscriber, you might need to find an option, an alternative in the meantime. But if you don't have YouTube TV and have direct TV and cable and all that other stuff, you've got a smorgasbord to choose from. We forgot to mention the fact that the Nationals hired a new manager who I think is probably younger than some of his than some of his players. John, I don't even know how to sum that up, but I'm gonna say keep a watch on that and see what happens. See who they keep, see who they unload, and see who they draw in. But with so much to choose from, watch it, absorb it. I didn't even mention NASCAR. I'm still trying to get over that one because I really feel for Denny Hamlin. Um, but it is what it is. Watch sports though, and come back and watch us. YouTube, Facebook. We'll send you the link. Tell your friends, tell your family.
Gary, thanks for another great week. We've enjoyed this conversation as always. I look so much forward to talking to you, man. This is really great. Hey, y'all, this week, watch some football, watch some basketball. Can't say watch some baseball, but let me add one more thing to baseball. Congratulations to the Orioles. They now
Three,
have a new manager. They
three,
have
three major sports. I said four. Sorry about that.
no problem. They have great Craig Arbonaz as the new manager. But watch some NFL, watch some NCAA football, watch the NBA. They're heating up now. Watch some NHL hockey. You can catch some soccer on your channels as well. But above all else, just watch some sports and come back and see us. Take care.